Bus driver, give us a bump steer. We had to walk 10 miles. The bus driver says we was here when we bus and we couldn't come no rides.
Well, I had to send out the grain machine short. 2 buckets. Won't do you any good to go out now. After dinner, you get lost. What's your name?
George Milton.
George Milton. What's yours?
His name's Lenny. Small.
Sheldon Epps, the artistic director of the theater, asked me if I would consider doing an American classic, and he proposed Of Mice and Men, and I was a little bit crestfallen because it's a play that I love but feel is very familiar, and was a little afraid that what we'd end up doing is a beautiful, albeit traditional production that everyone expects to see. And at this point in my life, having done this as long as I've done it, that kind of work doesn't really interest me because revivals and recreations are not what I go into the theater for. I mostly do new plays.
On the book, Barney, that's what the boss says. Hope you get a white team. The boss said we go with a jerk-line skinner named Slim. That's me.
I just had a gut instinct, and I think I was talking to my wife about it, who's a talented choreographer, and we got thinking about the issue of the Mexican labor force in the country and what that could mean to the play. And then I stumbled on an historical fact that the Bracero program, which was instituted only 5 years after Steinbeck wrote the play, brought thousands of skilled Mexican workers into the same exact agricultural valley as the play is set. And once I made that connection, it took off for me.
You don't get a better American play than Of Mice and Men. It's, one of my friends compared it to sort of the American Hamlet, just the depth and the resonance. And so I thought Paul's concept of setting it in the 40s with Mexican farm workers made it newly resonant and exciting and timely, given what's going on. So
If we want a little whiskey, we can sell eggs or something. We wouldn't sleep in no bunkhouse. Nobody could catch us in the middle of a job.
Tell him about the house, George.
Sure, we'd have una casita. A room to ourselves, and it ain't enough land, so we'd have to work too hard, maybe 6, 7 hours a day. We wouldn't be bucking no barley 11 hours a day. And when we put in a crop, when we'd be there to take that crop up, we'd know what come up our planting.
And rabbits! And I take care of them. And tell him how I do that, George.
I mean, to be honest with you, I was nervous before talking to Paul when I heard about the idea because, I've seen productions in the past that have gone like overboard in terms of really making it over-the-top Mexican stereotype characters and stuff like that. And this is such a great American play that I was a little bit, nervous and wanted to hear his ideas. But when he talked about, we're going to do the play as is. It's going to be Of Mice and Men. It's just going to be with the idea that they're Mexican migrant workers from the Bracero program that was in the 40s and whatever. And I thought it was fantastic. And he was really clear about how, much he wanted to keep it very much the play.
I asked my assistant at the time, who happened to be Hispanic, Andres Martinez, if he would see if he could find any photographs of the period of these Los Braceros, and came up with an amazing book by Richard Stephen Street called Photographing Farm Workers in California. And there were pictures of skilled Mexican laborers working in our fields, and it looked like Steinbeck. It looked exactly like you'd imagine the play, only with Mexicans in it. And then once we hit that, it became a brand new play for me. Everything became up for grabs. I had no answers, I only had questions, and that's the way I like to do theater.
I'm just looking for somebody to talk to. Don't you never just want to talk to somebody?
Bueno, muchachos, yes. Una big pair of your spouse.
Hola, Slim.
Hey, Espinosa.
I'm trying to find Curly.
Well, you ain't trying very hard. I see him going in your house.
I gotta go.
what the concept does is just rip it open and make it new again. And it sort of reinvents it, but it's always Steinbeck's language. I mean, not a word is not Steinbeck. And even when you hear Spanish, what we've done is we've borrowed from Spanish translations. We've just taken Steinbeck's language, which has been translated anyways into every conceivable language, and we've just made Steinbeck in Spanish, which is no different than if you were in high school, in Spain. So we feel like we've stayed really faithful, and I agree. Since I'm a lover, and I know Al is too, of playwrights' words, the respect and the faithfulness that we had to Steinbeck, I think, is really exciting. I think if you're an audience member, I just hope that you hang some of your expectations at the door.
Oh, you have to sit out here and read books. So, you can play hush until it gets dark. But then you gotta read both. Both ain't no good.
I always felt that we could go back to the book as a source, and occasionally the book helped us with the new concept more than the play. So we, if I give you an example, the black character Crooks in the novella says, I was born right here in California. My father had a farm, almost 10 acres. Now this is a black man born in California whose father owned a farm. And he's talking to Lenny, who's in our production, a Mexican bracero. So I put that line back in because it had resonance to hear an Afro-American talking about ownership to a Mexican immigrant.
It's there, Lenny. You keep looking. Just keep looking.
I'm looking, George. I'm looking.
It's right. It's gonna be nice there. Ain't gonna be no trouble. No fights. Nobody ever gonna hurt nobody or steal from them. It's gonna be nice.
I think that a lot of Hispanics can relate to emigrating and to what, you know, the hardships that brings. You know, I think all of our families had to leave something behind to do something for their kids. And so I think that story is here. This is what these guys are fighting for, to send that check home to their family. And even though that's a very understated, sort of almost implied concept in our think, I think it's there.
I like to think that what we're doing is adding value, not changing what Steinbeck intended. I like to think that if Steinbeck came to see this play, he'd be thrilled to see this. Because otherwise, why do it?